So to review, what do we have so far? We have a search bar, we have our custom cell that we implemented, and our custom, our app now renders from the API news articles. Okay? The next step we'll attempt or do here is when I click on a cell, I want to segue over to our detail controller, which we do not have yet. So when I click on a cell, I want to segue over to a detail controller. The detail controller will present the user with a super jumbo image, right? So we have two images. This image we're looking at is the thumb image. When we go to the detail, we'll show the user a bigger image with other information, such as the byline, and maybe the date of the article or whatever else we want to add there. But more importantly, the user will be able to save an article, right? The user will be able to save an article in the detail view controller. Yes?
We did something to stop it from refreshing.
To stop it from refreshing.
Inside of the image. We stop from refresh as in like the circle thing?
Because it keeps loading the images over.
Inside of your thing, you have the stop.
The images are like.
If I was flickering, we could take care of flickering later.
Yeah,
we'll take care of it.
Activity indicators stop and
Okay, let us continue on. So, next step, we need to go ahead and go to a detail controller. So first, let's go ahead and create a detail controller's view controller. Let's go to our controller section here. We have 4 controllers. We'll create a next controller. We'll call it detail or news article detail controller. It's subclass of Cocoa Touch class here. I'm subclassing UI view controller.
You said view.
And I'm calling it, we could call it, we'll call it article detail controller or article detail view controller. That's fine. Article detail view controller. Cool. So we have our article detail view controller. When the user clicks on an image, it comes over here and it populates our view controller. So in our article detail view controller, let's go ahead and set up some logic here such that when it comes, it updates the UI. So we need access to, what do we need here?
An article?
We need an article, very good. We'll write an update UI, function update UI here. We'll call our update UI here. In our update UI, we will unwrap our article. It's an optional.
But you can't use mark it with the exclamation mark?
No, we avoid that as much as we can. But here we do not need to do it because we unwrapped it. So we could say article dot whatever. So here I'll set up the navigation item. I'll set up the title of my nav bar to say article dot title. So before we go ahead and set up any like article detail view, we'll just test out Segwin. Segwin is a good place to start and see if we could pass data from A to B because we're doing everything programmatic, right? There's no storyboard, there's no control drag. We are doing everything in code and we are responsible for doing everything in code on Tuesday. Okay. No prepare for segue here. No prepare for segue here. We'll go in the did select, exactly. Are we still typing the detail view controller? Good? Okay. Let's go back to our newsfeed controller. Where is the place I'll be doing the segue in? What function should I write my code in? Did select, right? David? Did select? Brandon? Okay. Okay. Very good, very good, very good. So we'll go to the extension. I'm in the newsfeed controller. I'm going to go to my extension that extends the delegate flow layout. And there I'll implement a did select function. So did select in the delegate flow layout. Delegate flow layout. Extension delegate flow layout. That's where all my delegates for my collection view is. So that's a delegate method, not a data source method. It will work, but that's not where it belongs. If somebody's watching your code, they'll say, okay, you don't exactly know that the difference between that delegate method and the data source method, two different things.
And it's a delegate method because we were like
Action, there's an action there. I did select something, I get an update about it. Data source gives me data. Right? Very good. So did select item at, I'll start off by getting my article. So get my article from my articles, from my news articles. So here we have an article. Great. What else do I need to do? I'm trying to segue over. What else I need to do here? Yulia? What's the next step here? I have an article. The objective of this function is when I click on an item, a cell, I want to segue over to my detail controller. Yeah, we need to push view controller, right? But before we do that, what else we need to do? The detail needs something. What does it need? What's that? We need to create an instance, so okay, we'll create an instance of the article detail view controller. Article detail view controller. Okay. What else I need to do on that instance? Chelsea? Head up, right, Chelsea? What am I doing here? I am segueing over to my detail controller. I have an article. I have an instance of the article detail view controller. What's the next step here? Lilia? The detail controller needs what? It needs information, right? What's that exact information? We have it here. Right, and that information it gets from the article, right? So what we need to say is, Mr. Detail Controller, go ahead, your article equals to this article we have here. Right? Everybody good here? We do not want that to be our struggle or our blocker for the assessment, right? We have bigger delegation things to worry about there. Article is the thing I'm passing over, so I get it from the array. Next, I say I want an instance, and here is an instance from my code. If I was dealing with storyboard, this would be what? An instance of storyboard, right? Instantiated from storyboard. But here I'm getting it from code. It doesn't have any information else it needs. I'll put a simple to do here that will come to after assessment. So after assessment, we will be using initializers as dependency injection right now the only way we inject in because article is public, But as post assessment, we'll write an initializer inside of our article detail controller, and instead of saying making our article public, we'll do something like this, where it says article dot article, right? That way my article itself is private. Everybody with me? Right? So we'll use that methodology post assessment. It's better code to write best practices. My article becomes private, nobody has access to it. If I need an article, I pass it via an initializer, right? This is better encapsulation, better object-oriented programming. Cool? You got a question? Okay, yes.
Is this way of sending information to the control specific to
Where else do we do that? Prepare for segue, yeah. We always pass information at the end of the day programmatically, right? But here we're not using prepare for segue, we're using did select. That's the only difference. And we have to explicitly, as Julia says, we have to say navigation controller push.
Yeah, but my question is why? Because we
Why do we need to pass information over?
no, we were using prepare for segue before, so why are we using this?
Because this way is better done in programmatically. If you're doing everything programmatically, this is the better way. Not prepare for segue. Okay?
Prepare for segue, we have to like drag.
We drag and it segues anyway. Like prepare for, there's still a prepare for segue here. You could still do it in prepare for segue. Yeah, but here we want to do it when we click on the cell, everything programmatically. Cool? Very good. All right, so article, are we done at this point? No, what's the next step? We need to embed the navigation controller. Okay, where's a good place to embed? Good. So Cassandra is ahead, right? But I wanted to show us one thing where if we don't do it, what happens? So if I say navigation controller here, and we'll see why Cassandra is on point here. So navigation controller push view controller, I'll say article view controller, and I'll say true here. What? Exactly. So if I run the code, I think most of us are there already. We've seen that it's not going to work, right? If I run my app and I click on a cell, right? Are we clicking on the cells here? Because assessment, that'll happen and you'll be like, oh my God, what's happening? Please, everybody, run the app. If you confirm that you know exactly why it's not working, that's fine. But if we're still unsure, run the app, click on a cell, and you'll see nothing happens. We have all the code that should make it work, but nothing happens. We could even put a breakpoint on 82 and really see that in action here. If I click on a cell, line 82 gets executed, right? I put a breakpoint here, the code runs. But this line of code here, let's see what's happening. On line 86, everybody please do this. On line 86, go ahead and PO navigation controller. PO, print out navigation controller and press enter. What value do we get back, Jahid? It's nil on your computer, correct?
No, I'm still
Type in. Okay. Tanya, what do you have in your console? What? Okay. Yeah, I was trying not to embed yet. Mel, what do you have?
Sorry, I just finished typing. I can do that.
Christian? You have nil in the console, correct? Very good. Because our navigation controller, if I type return here, I'm not in a navigation controller. If I look at my application, if I look at my app, do we see a bar at the top? No. And we never embedded it anywhere in our code. That's why Cassandra says, in order to make this work, I have to embed my newsfeed controller in a navigation controller. Then I get my navigation bar, then I'm able to push content. Yes? You know what? Do you put a breakpoint on? Yeah. Put a breakpoint in your did select and it should get activated unless you do not have your delegate, which you do because we have the item size working there. So put a breakpoint inside of your did select. in newsfeed view controller.
You said navigation control or is it
It's not embedded. There's no place we embedded this view controller in a navigation controller. So it's nil. It's like taking storyboard, have your tab bar controller, connect view controllers, and there's no embed view controller there. Uh-huh.
So there's two places we can do it, right? In the scene where we set up the window.
Yeah, we'll do it in the tab controller subclass, right? That's where we'll do it. Can I get a confirmation?